Okay, so do you have any question for this class? Any question? Let me know. No. Okay. So if no question, let me review what we learned about array in the last class. So that example when figure out what is the average grade of all students in the class when working with a group, right? So for this one, whenever you get the grade of new student, you store it into the variable. The new grade will override the old grade, right? So basically for this one, when you come over to check what is the grade of the first student, what is grade of the second student, you have no way to do that, right? So in order to overcome this one, you can use the array here. So what is the array? Right? The first step here, what is the array? Array is a series or list of variable items stored in the contiguous memory location. Right? Next, they put next together. Right? All variables share the same name and must be on the same data type. And when you work with the Python, work the list. This one is not applicable with the list in the Python here. And each variable has the different subscript or index here. Right? So think about it. If you want to store grade of all students in a class, right, you can use array here. They have the same name. They have same name here. Name here is grade here. Right? If you look on this one, name here is grade. Why am I? Oh, sorry. I have not shared yet. Question. I have many of you in the class here, but no one tell me that it's not shared. Question. So I believe that many of you not follow me on the class. Terrible. Or is it? Terrible. No one tell me that it's not shared. Alright, so the array is a series of lists of variable items stored in the contiguous memory location. Right? All variables share the same name and must be on the same data type. And each variable has a different subscript or index. Right? So think about this example. If you want to store all grade of all students in your class, right? So basically you can use the grade with the array username grade here. The grade here. That is the name of array. Right? So now if you want to store the grade for the first student, remember that the first index in the array always starting from 0. And it comes all over to the last element. And the last element the last index is the number of element minus 1. You have to remember that thing, right? You have to remember this thing here. So we see for this one here, right? Element it's an item in the array. And subscript is the position number of item in the array, starting from 0. And to the one less than here, you see, always one less than the number of the item of element in the array. That is, you have to remember when work with the real programming language. But again, let me highlight here. Let me remind you that when we work with Raptor, it's starting from the index number 1. Right? So actually, when we work with Raptor, it's starting from number 1, come all over to the number of the element in the array. Right? So basically, when you work with the real programming language, you have the subscript here from 0 to 4 to store for the 5 element. Right? But when you work with the Raptor, you have starting from index from number 1 and come over to the index number 5 here. Make sense? Okay, that thing you have to remember when you work with Raptor. Now, the size array, that's the number of element it will hold. It's a number. So think about if you have the array grade here, and the size of this array is that you have the 5 element for this one. Right? And each array element can be used in the same way. Is a combination of the array name and the subscript here. Right? So think about if you want to see what is grade of the student number 1, you have to use grade 0 here. Right? That actually is for student number 1. And if you use grade 3 here, actually it look it up for the student number 4 and it take it out the number 90 here. Make sense? Again, This every definition here when work with the real programming language. But remember, when work the adapter, you have to start it from number one here. Okay, that's why you store it here, right? So how can you create the array? Right? You just place the element inside the bracket separately by the comma here. So think about this one. I create my list. It's empty list. Or I have my list here 1, 2, 3. That we have the 3 elements. But in the Python, I can generate all of the empty list with the 10 element here. Each of them number 0. I time it 10. I generate the 10 element. All of them value 0 in the Python. I remember Python here. Now, so we will understand how the array, what is array and how it works, right? So now if you want to load data in the array, how we do it? The first thing when you want to load data in the array, you have to think about using the loop here. You want to enter the name of the first student, of the second one, a third one, and so on. You use the loop. Use the loop. Actually, this one works exactly with the loop here, right? The only difference with the array and the loop you did before in the module 5 is that in the module 5, whenever you get the name, you store it on the same variable, right? But now, for each iteration of the loop, you store it into separate element of the array, right? So think about this one here. So you think about if you look in the Raptor file here, right? In the Raptor file here, this is the program, right? And the number of students here, right? So now see, think about I enter the number of the 3 students here to make it simple, right? This program here is that it got the student name from end user and store it into the array. That's all. That's very simple, right? So think about how many students here. I enter the 3 students, right? So now you have to maintain the loop. Again, this is a definite loop. You know that for sure. It runs for the 3 iterations, right? So now you have to maintain the counter. I have to maintain the counter. You check the condition of the counter here, right? And for inside the loop, you just have action to change the control variable here. Make sense? And now for each iteration of the loop, what is the name of student? And you store it into the name. Name here is a variable. Name here it is an array name, right? And you store it in the element counted. That's all. Make sense? Now see when I run it here, what happened here, right? So think about to make it simple, I run it here. I have the 3 students here, right? So I enter the A for the first one, I have B for the second one, I enter the C here for the third one. So see, at the end of the process here, right? At the end of the process, I store them into the array name. And the first element A, the second element B, and the third element C here. You can see on the left here. Right? Make sense? So it's very simple, very straightforward here. You see, you have to use the combination of the array. Sorry, you have to use the combination of the array name and the index here. Right? So starting from number 1, store it to number 1, move to the next one, increase the count by 2, store it into the element 2, and so on. Right? Make sense? Now, my question here. That is the way you load into the array. So now, if you want to print out everything in the array, how we do it? If you want to print out every element in the array, how you do it? How we do it?
Same thing with a loop.
Yes, you do the same thing in the loop, right? You do the same thing in the loop. You take it out and print it out, right? Print what is the first element, what is the second one, and so what third one here, and so on. Right? So now you see, if I want to print it out, right? If I want to print it out here, I can do another loop here, right? So again, I need to do another loop. And again, the loop here, you also have to maintain the count, right? Running everything from the first one to the last one here, right? So you see, I can do it here. I can copy this one and put it here. Initialize the control variable, right? The check control variable here. The check control variable is the same, right? Check the control variable here the same, right? And for each iteration, I just print it out, right? I just print it out. Anything else? Anything else?
Should also print out the name of the student, right?
Already here. Sorry. Yes. Take it out, right? Thank you. Name. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Hello. I see many of you online here. I expect you follow me on the class here, otherwise challenging for you when you work with the homework here. What do you think? What else? What's missing here?
Change the
Yes, I see. Initialize the control variable, right? Check the condition here. Now, the next step, you have to action to change the control variable. Otherwise, always stay at one and stay forever. Stay forever here. So that's why you also have to do the same action here. You have to do the same action here. Ready? Right? So now, you see, I can have 3 here. I have A, I have B, I have C. And see, and print out here, right? Name of the first student A, second one B, and the third one C here. Make sense? Yes.
question. Could you take both loops and put them into one loop?
Yes, of course. I just want to show you how you load data into the array and how you take the data out of the array. And of course, this one you can do it here. I want to show you that one. And one more thing about when you work with the array here, you see, that's one when you want to know, right? That's one when you run everything from the first element to the last element, right? You see, the first element here come all over the last element. And in the Raptor or in the real programming language, you can use the len function here. The len function and the name of the array return you how many elements you have into the array. Right? So for this one here, I can change it here. See, for this one, I can change it, right? I can change the condition here. Whatever count greater than length here, right? Length. Sorry, for in the Raptor, it's a length. And I put the name of the array. Array here is the name, right? I start in the name here. Okay. So I see it do the same. It do the same. Now you see if I enter the file student, I start into the array name and it returns the length of array name here is the file element. It's up to you. It's up. I think about it. I run it again, right? I run it again here. I have 3 students. Okay. So, oh, sorry. I entered the wrong one. Sorry. That should be better. This one. This one. The second one. Length. Okay. So see, when the first step you store all of them in the array, right? And you know what is how many elements of the array? It returned by the function length up here. Right? So see, I run it here again. I have the 3, have A, have B, have C, and it do the same. Right? So it's a length of function. Sorry, this one here, the length of function here. This one, if I have to, when you do not know how many elements of the array, right? Think about we have 100 or 1,000. It already return how many elements is the array here. Make sense? Okay. So that is the case when you want to load data in the array. Right? That is a definite loop. You know for sure that how many iterations, right? It depends on how many students here. And if you want to do with the indefinite number of iteration, you can use it with the while loop here. You can control by the sentinel value, right? So think about this one here. When you want to control by the sentinel value for this one here, this program, right, keeps asking user to enter grade all students in the class, right? And if you want to terminate it, just enter the negative one, right? So see, the control variable here, the control variable here, the control variable here is the grade. It's a grade here. And you check the condition, if grade equal to 1, negative 1, exit it. If not, keep doing it here. Right? So see, when it's not negative 1, I store into the array. It's stored into the array. I move to the next element of the array here. Right? And also, I have the action to change the control variable here. Makes sense? I see. How I run it here? Let me clear it here. How I run it here? I run it right. So enter the grade. The first one 60, the second one 70, and the last one 80. Now I want to exit it. I press the negative 1 here. So we see it's stored 3 students, 3 grades of the student in the array here. Actually, works quite the same. But the thing is that in this one, you use a sentinel control, right? To control the variable, control the loop here. And of course, if you want to access it to take it out, you do exactly the same, right? Exactly the same. You do the loop and take it out, right? Makes sense.
Would the second loop be a definite loop, since it would be the array length is defined after you exit?
Yes. So when you exit it, you will have the definite number of elements right here. And of course, you can use the length function. Okay, the same. Right? The same. The output here is the same. The purpose of the two programs here is that store the data into the array. Right? So when you're done with the loading into the array, you're done with the loading, and you can take it out. When you take it out, work the same. Work the same. And you can see it here. You can see when you work with the for loop in the Python, right? The Python divided by C4 here in the for loop here. I can use the range function here. Right? So depend if I enter the number 3 student here. Right? So the range function here, it do it for 3 times. That's all. And the reason that I have to index +1 here, because in the Python, it's starting from 0, right? So see, if I want to input the grade of the student 0, actually I have to increase 1 here to tell that and the grade of the student number 1. Make sense? Right? So see, for this one here, right, you have my array here, my array. And if you have this index number 0, actually is store of the element number 1. Right? That's why I have to increase number 1 here to make it straightforward to the element. Okay? And that is the case when you work with a definite number of iteration. You use a for loop here. And normally when you work with the Python, you work with the while loop. In the case you do with an indefinite number of iteration. Right? And again, you use a sentinel to control here. You use a sentinel to control the loop here. Right? So see, for this one here, right? You enter. Oh no, where my while loop? Yeah, this one. Yeah, the second one. So see for this one here. The number here, enter the positive number, enter -1 to quit. Keep doing it until you enter the negative 1. So it's starting with the array, the empty array here, and for each time you enter the number greater than 0, you add it up to into the array by the append here. Any questions so far, guys? Hello? So some of the application with with the array here, it's very straightforward here. The first one is to find the sum and the average. It works exactly the same when you work with loop here, right? So in order to do that, you have to initialize the accumulator and set it to 0. Right? And now we run the loop. For each iteration of the loop, you just add the number into the accumulator, right? Think about this one here. Think about this program here, right? Think about this program. Yeah. So see, when you're done, when you already store all the three numbers, sorry, all the three right of the three students here into the array. Now write the program to take it out and sum it up together. Right? How we do it? Again, you have to maintain the accumulator, right? You do the loop, you starting from the first element, the second one, until the last element. And for each iteration of the loop, you just add it up to the accumulator here. I see. In order to do that, it's quite simple here, right? So think about this one here. You have this. In order to do that, you have to initialize the accumulator. You have the sum. You put it to 0 here. Now you do the loop again. You do the loop again. So getting about that counter here again. And the condition to exit the loop here is that whenever counter greater than length of it. Great. So for each iteration of the loop, you just add it up, right? You just add it up here. Now the new sum equal to the old sum plus to the value of the current element, right? So the current element here is great and counter. And see at the end, you can print it out. At the end, you can print it out. What's the sum? Okay, so now see, run it again. First student, 60. Second one, 70. The third one, 80. Exit it, -1.
Your counter in the loop.
Counter here already.
Oh, there it is. Never mind. Sorry.
Where? Sorry, I spelled. Oh, the second one, yes, I have found that. Thank you. I did it. Now we see, for this one, it had the 60, it had the 70, it had 80, and then -1. Right? So see, at the end, you print out the sum here. 210 here. And of course, if you want to print it out average, you just take the sum, you divide for the length of here. Right? That means how many elements. Make sense? Very straightforward here, right? Now that's the first thing. The second thing is that you want to find out the maximum and minimum. The maximum and minimum also is very simple here, right? So basically to do that, normally you have to assign both of the minimum and the maximum to the first element. To the first element in the array here. Now you run the loop to scan from the second element to the last element here, right? For each iteration, you do the comparison. If the current minimum here greater than number, so it cannot be minimum, right? So you just change the current minimum here to the current number. And the same, if the maximum less than the number, so for sure it cannot be the maximum, right? And you just change it to the maximum number here. And you can choose it. You can choose it down here. You can choose this down in this program here. Think about this one. Now see, if you look at this one here, I have the mean here. At the beginning, I assign to the first element, number 2 here. At the maximum here, I assign for the same first element, number 2 here. Now, I run the loop, right? I run the loop. I scan everything from the second element to the last one here. Now I compare 2 less than 4, correct? Right? 2 less than 4, I do not do anything. Now 2 greater than -12, I change it. Now it's a -12, right? Now Negative 12 less than 5, do not do anything. Less than 8, do not do anything, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So see, at the end of the process, the minimum here is negative 12. Make sense? Hello, make sense? Okay, the maximum also. Right? I scan it, everything. So see, I compared 2 less than 4, I change it to 4. Now from 4 greater than negative 12, I keep the same. I move to the 5. 4 less than 5, I change it to the 5. And 5 less than 8, I change it to the 8. 8 less than 32, I change it to 32. 32 greater than 31, keep the same. Greater than 3, keep the same. Greater than 9, keep the same. Greater than 10, keep the same. So at the end of the process, I have the maximum 32. Make sense? Okay? It's very, very straightforward for this one. And you can do the same with the raptor. You do the same with the raptor. I do not do it here. I want to do it. I want you to do it by yourself in the homework. I see the process is the same. Run everything from the second element until the last element. For each of them, you compare here. You make the comparison here. Now, the third application in the loop is that you can replace the net decision. I think about you have the HR department here, and they want to report how many dependent with how many employee with 0 dependent, 1 dependent, 2 dependent, and 3 and 4 and 5. And suppose that no employee have more than 5 dependents. So for this one, of course, you know that you can think that you can maintain the 6 dependent cow accumulator here. You see at the beginning, you set all of them 0 here. You set all of them 0. You see, we set all of the cow 0 here. That means it count for how many employee with 0 dependent. Cow number 1, how many employee with 1 dependent, and so on. And for each iteration of the loop, you ask the employee how many dependent you have, right? So if he tells us I have no, you increase it by 1, and so on. Right? So the first approach here, you can think about, you can work with a method decision. You can work with a method decision for this one here. So you have the program here. You have the program here. For each iteration to look how many dependent you have. Raise the question, how many dependent you have. And if he enters the number 0, add it up to the count number 0. And if you enter the number 1, add it up to the count number 1 here. And so on here. But with this program, you see, you have to do with a multiple separate input. I see. You have to maintain the 6 separate variable here. Now, net decision, it look very cumbersome here. So what happened here? If the employees answer that he has the 5 dependent, so you see, you have to check it for 1 time, check it another time, check it, and down the line you have the action to increase the counter here. It's very cumbersome here. It not scale up for more dependent. So what happens if you have employees the 6, 7, and 8? You cannot do this one. Actually, it's add it to the file. Make sense? And you have the multiple separate output also. So if you want to print out how many employees with the 0 dependent, with the 1 dependent, you have to do it with a separate line here. You have to do it with a separate line. Yeah, you have to do it with a separate line. And now you can think about this one here. You can think all of them look quite similar here, right? All of them cow. Right? The same name. The only difference here is the 0, 1, 2, 3. So we can think about. I can replace all of them with the array here. Right? So I can replace all of them with the array here. So when you replace all of them array, here, you see, now you can initialize the array here, right? You can initialize array here for 1 time only, right? For 1 time only when you work with this one. And for the output also, you see, you can maintain the loop. You know that, right? When you work the array, you can do the loop here. So instead of printing out multiple separate lines, now we can do the loop. So we just do it 1 time. But you see, you still have problem here. Net decision cumbersome and does not scale up to more dependent. I see. When you look on when you look on this one here, right? When you look on this program here, you can see it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that how many dependent here. If 0 increases to 0, right? If 1 increases to the 1, if 2 increases to the 2, if 3 increases to 3, and if 4 increases to 4, and if 5 increases to 5. Right? So see, 0, 0 here the same, right? 1 and 1 here the same. 2 and 2 here the same. Right? So now, instead of using the very cumbersome net addition here, I could just replace it here. How many dependent you have? He answers that I have that here. I doesn't. I do not care what's the that here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter. But I know for sure that if he enters the number, if he answers the number of dependent here to that, I just add it up to the count. That here. And I add it up to the number 1. You see, if 0, change it to 0. If 1, increase it to 1. If 2, increase it to 2 here. Right? Make sense? Hello? Can you see it? Right? You see, it doesn't matter if it's 0, 1, 2, or 3. It doesn't matter. Right? So you see, I can change the whole program here, the whole net addition here by the only single code here, single line of the code here, and you can observe it very clearly, right? You can observe it very clearly by using the interrupter or what is it? See, that is when I done with the net addition. You see, a long way to do it, right? We have long way to do it. But when I work with I replace it right here. I replace it here. It's way better, right? You see, the whole process here. Sorry, this one here. The whole process here, right? The whole process here. I replace it by the net addition here. Or you can see it very clearly when you work with the Python here. See that in net addition here. You have to do with separate line. You have to check for the net addition, and you have to print out on the separate line, for example here. But when you work with the replace it here, so we see what the replace here. You can see on the left is my net addition, right? But on the right, it's way better, right? It's way better here. And this one here, the more thing about this one is that it can work with any number of dependent. It's not only restricted to 5, right? So we see if it's 6, 7, or 8, it works exactly the same. But if we work in net addition, we have to break it down furthermore. Right? Makes sense? Okay. Now, the fourth one is searching an array for an exact match. Right? That's one you can think about. You work in the grocery here, grocery store, right? You have the list of the valid item. Sorry. You have the list of valid item here. That is code. You can think about the code of each of the item you have. I think about to make it simple for this one, you only have the 6 item in your in the list of the valid item. Right? But of course, it can be the 100 or 1,000 or whatever. Right? And this one you only initialize all of the item in the list. And if you want to do it, you can work with the loop, right? And you ask the user what is the valid code of the first element, of the second one, of the third one, and you store into the array. Right? So this example, suppose that you don't have the list already, but if you do not have, you have to ask the user to enter the valid list, right? Okay. So now we think that one here. That's the program here. You have the list of the valid item, right? And so now, if the buyer want to buy something, he have to enter the code, right? So you think about he enters the code number 100 here. Now you have action. You have to check if the user enters the code in the valid item or not. Right? If in the valid item, of course, you can tell that enters the correct list, and he can do with the building or whatever it is, right? But if not, you have to print it out that you have the bad item, right? You have to select the bad item and you print it out how many bad items it is. Huh? So now think about this one here. Okay, for this program, you have to think about this one. It's nested loop. Right? Nested loop here. What is the outer loop? What do you think? What's the outer loop here? What is the outer loop for this one? What's the outer loop? Outer loop is that when customer keep enter the number, right? Keep enter the number here. Think about this one here, and keep doing it until here. You see, keep doing it until he enters the number 999. Exit the loop, right? So think about here. How about he entered 106? Right? That's correct. And how he entered 108? That's correct. And if you want to exit it, he enters 999. Right? That's the outer loop. Keep enter the code, right? Until he enters the 999 here. That's outer loop. And what is the inner loop here? What do you think? What's the inner loop here? Inner loop is that whenever user enter a code here, right? Whenever user enters the code, you have inner loop to scan everything from the first element to the last element of the valid item to check it is valid or not. Make sense? Right? So see, whenever you see from the pseudocode or flowchart, you have to think what is the purpose of this program and how is structured here. So for this one, you have to understand that the user keep enter the code until he enters the 999 here, right? And for each of the code he enter, the program had to scan it from the first element to the last element to see if it is a valid item or not, right? So see for this one here, that is everything here is the outer loop. That is outer loop here. You see input item here. So think about he enters the 100 here. That is the input item. Just to get head here, get the name, right? Check if not 99. Go to the detail loop. Go to the inner loop here. Now, if you look the inner loop here, now see what happened here. In the loop, you have to maintain the flag here. Sorry. In the loop, you have to maintain the flag here. Flag here, you set it no at the beginning. You suppose that at the beginning you have not found it yet, right? You have not found it yet. Now, also you have starting from the first element here. The sub here is the index number, right? The first element is that you have index number 0. Make sense? Okay, now we're starting from the first element here. You check the correction. If you run everything from the first to the last, that means when you run to the last one here, the size here is the number of elements. Make sense? You run from 0. So if you have a 5 element, you run everything from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you exit it. So the size here is the number. Now, so see, for each iteration of the loop here, you have to check if the enter item equal to the element in the list or not. Right? What happened here? If equal, that means you set it, you change here. You change to flag to the yes. You see, at the end of the process, the flag change from no to yes. That means you found it already. You found it already. Now, if not, you move to the next item. You move to scan from the first one to the second one, the third one, and so on. So see, when you exit the loop, when you scan from the first one to the last one, you have two possibilities here. If it is able to find it or not, right? So we check it again. If you found it, yes, print now. It is valid item. If not valid item, and you increase the bad item count by 1. That's all. Make sense? Okay. So you can see for this one here. You can see for this one, I work with the router. Again. So with the router, I set every valid item here, right? That is valid item here. Get ID actually is the process of the get the item number. That is control variable for the outer loop here. Right? Keep doing it until he enters the 999. Right? So now, when I come back to the main here, the initialize, I get it, and I go to the get ID, get the valid item here. Now That is the outer loop here. Right? Outer loop, keep doing it until the item equal to finish. That means 999. Right? So now, when you go to file item, you see, is the file item. Again, it is another loop here. You see, I found the flag here now. I set the sub now. When I work the adapter, the reason I work the adapter, I have to set the sub starting from number 1. But if you look on pseudocode and flowchart starting from number 0, right? Because the thing that when you work the adapter, the first index of the array always starting from number 1. Make sense? That's why I have to change it to number 1. And so see, you keep doing it from the first one to the last one here. And for each one, I compare. If how it, right, I set it to yes. If not, I move to the next item here. So at the end of the process, if I found it, I print it out, found it. If not, right, bring out and increase here. And of course, if you want to move to the next item, you have to get the new item here. Right? Makes sense? Okay, so see, it works exactly the same with the flow chart here. So when you work with the pseudo, sorry, when you work with the Python also, sorry. Okay, so in the Python here, you see it's very straightforward when you look on the Python, right? That is a list of valid item here, right? And you see that is a control variable of the outer loop. Right? You keep enter the number until he enters the 999 here. Right? That's the outer here. So we see outer loop. That is the condition to check. Right? And in the outer loop here, you have the action to change the control variable. Right? That's the outer loop here. You have the 3 rules, right? Initialize the control variable, check the condition, and have action to change the control variable. That's the outer loop. Outer loop here, everything about the item number only. Keep doing it until he enters the 9. Now the inner loop here, you see, I set the file to the node here, and I use the for loop here. The for loop sub in the range actually, I think from 0 come all to the last element here. And you do. If I check it, it's correct. Set the file yes, and at the end you have the 2 possibilities. If yes, print it. If not, no, and increase the byte item by 1. Make sense? Okay. Anytime if you have any question, please interrupt me. I see that many of you online here, but I'm not sure you are able to follow me or not. If you are not, let me know. Do you have any question? Hello?
No question.
No.
Okay, so that is a flowchart, right? And you see, that is pseudocode here. Again, I expect that you have to look in the pseudocode and you understand about structure here in order to do work with the debugging exercise. And so see, if you look in the pseudocode, the same, exactly the same here. Initialize the list here, right? You see what happened here. That is get ID, right? What is the get ID? You get the item, right? And check the condition of the outer loop here, and check the conditions of the outer loop. If it is correct, right? Do is the file item. File item. What's the file item? File item. Another one loop here. Another loop here. We have another loop here. This one. And where is the N one? Yes, this one. Okay, this one. Another loop here. So see, exactly the same, right? Whenever we got the item, right? You set the flag here. Flag with no, right? Set for the first element here, right? And check condition. If it not reach everything from the first to the last here, and for each one, check if it equal or not. If equal, set it to 0. If not, increase the back item by 1 here. Right? Sorry, increase it to the next item here. And at the end here, you see, if yes, print now yes. If no, print now no, and add increase the back item by 1 here. So you see, if you look on this one here, I hope you understand the logic of this one when you work with debugging exercise. Right? Makes sense. But with this program, we have problem here, right? It always have to check for every single element in the array. You see, you always have to see whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, you always starting from the first element, come all over to the last element here, right? So think this is very simple. You always have the 6 element in the array. But what happens if you have 100, 1,000, or 10,000? You always have to scan everything from the first to the last, right? So in order to overcome this one, you want to write program that whenever you found it, you access the loop immediately, right? You do not have to run it here. Really helpful here. And we come with this one. You come with this letter or this class. Now we talk about the parallel array. So we talk about the parallel array. So what is parallel array here? Again, remember that you have the definition here. Parallel array, 2 or more array with the same size. Each element in the one array is associated with an element in the same relative position in the other array here. You can think about this one. There are 2 parallel arrays. The first one is a valid atom. The second one is a valid prime. And they are related to each other, right? You see, if you look at this one here, if I know the code for the valid atom 106 here, I know for sure it's a prime is a 059 here, because they are related together based on position here. Makes sense. And they are parallel because they have the same size. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements. And this one also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements. And they are related together. And so come back to our example with the raptor. Come back to our example with the raptor. You can think about this one. You can think about where. Okay, you can think about this one. This program is enter the name of student here. And for each student, they have specific grade here. Now think about here. I do the another right here, right? So I do the same, copy and paste it here, and the grade final grade of student here. And of course, this one I have to store it into the rating. Okay, so for this one also, I do the same. I paste it here. Right, great. Student here. Okay, so see. Okay, so see, they are parallel array. What are they? What are they? What is the name of the 2 parallel array here? If you look on this program, name and grade, right? For each student, they have the 1 final grade, right? Each student, they have 1 final grade here. So see, I get the number of students here, and I do the loop, right? Enter the name of the first one, get the grade of the first one, and the name of the second one, get the grade of the second one. They are parallel array. They have the same size and they are related together. Right? They are related together. So now see, I run it again here. I run it again. I have the 3 students here. Right? I have this guy named A, and he's a 60, and this one named B, and he is 70, and this guy named C, and he is 80. Now, see. I print it out here, right? Student A, grade 60. Student B, grade 70. And student C, grade 80. Makes sense. They are parallel array. They are related together. The first element, the second, the third, and the third. Makes sense? It's very straightforward with this one, right? So here it's a application when you're using the parallel array. Of course, you can see it's application when you work with a loop here, right? And for this one also, right? This program here, customer order an item, right? And he had to enter the code for the item, right? So the first step here, he keep doing it until he enters the 999 to exit, right? And for each of the item he enter, you have to verify it is a correct item or not. Sorry, it's a valid item or not. Right? So when you find out the valid item, you know for sure what is the price. Right? Because they are related together. Think about this one here. Think about this one. If he enter, think about this one. If he enters the number 108, and you scan it in the valid item, you know 108 is a valid item. Right? And it is the second element in the valid item. So we know that it's the second element in the valid item. You know for sure. This one here, right here, it is 0.99 here because it is the second item is the price. Make sense? Okay. So now this program is here. If you look on this one here, it works exactly the same with the last one. Right? The only thing is that whenever you found it, you print it out what's the price is. That's all. Right? That's all. You see, it works exactly the same here. The only difference here you can see here. Whenever you found it, you print it out what's the price. And the reason you can print it right here because you use the index here. They are related together. So if you found it 108, you know it is element number 2, and you take it out from the price number 2, it is 0.99 here. Make sense? Right? Okay. So we see in this one when I no, not much modify. This one. So this is a Python here. Works exactly the same, right? The only difference is that whenever I found it here, whenever I found it, I print it out the price. That's all. And in the case of the Raptor also, in the case of Raptor, in the case of Raptor, you see, no, not this one. This one I have not changed yet. But you see, when you found it, you can print what's the price is, right? You can use the price, what's the price is, very simple with this one. Okay. So again, this has the same problem here, right? It has the same problem here because you always have to check for every single element from the first one to the last one. Right? Now, improve the search efficiency. So whenever you found it, you exit it. Whenever you found it, you exit it here. So you can modify the program very simple here. I see the last time here you have to do here. You see the last time here, right? The last time here you do not have this one. You do not have this one. You keep doing it from the first one until the last one, right? Correct or not? The last time you do it everything from the first one to the last one. But now see, you see, if whenever you found it, you change the flag to the Y here, right? At the beginning you have no, but whenever you found it, you change the flag to Y. So see, whenever you have the flag change to Y, you exit the loop instead of doing everything until the last one here, right? So see, you can modify it here. You can modify here. So whenever I did, so if you greater than the size or you found yes, you exit the loop, right? So when you exit the loop, again, you have two possibilities here. You are able to find it, right? So in the case you find it, the flag here is a yes, and you print out the price is a yes, and of course you print it out the price here, right? Price you already have here, right? And if not, you cannot find it and print it out and increase the bad item count by 1. Make sense? Okay. So You can do the same with the router also. You can do the same with the router. So we see in the file item here, I have the two conditions here. Either way, right? If it greater than the size of element, that means run everything from the first to the last already and able to find it. Or if I found it, I exit it. I exit it also. Just do the same here. The only thing is that I modify this one here. The last time I only have one condition. If the sub greater than the number of element, exit it. But now, all here. So if it's a Y, I change it, I exit it immediately, right? Instead of running everything from the first to the last. Make sense? Okay. Okay, so again, I expect that you have to understand about the flow chart here. Again, it's very helpful when you work with the debugging exercise. You look on the flow chart and see what happened here. Sorry. See what happened here. Set the flag is no. Starting from first element to run everything from first to the last, or whenever you found it, yes, here, right? So see, whenever we found it, set to the flag to yes, and print it out the price here. They are related together. That's why you are able to find out the price here. And that is a pseudocode. You see, this is pseudocode here. Also for this one here. Why you have not run it yet to the last element, or also and the file no, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Now, this application also is very helpful here. I think it's very interesting about when working with array and for the range method. Very helpful here. And so we can think about a programmer want to work with range of value. I think about you have the reach the customer order data. Right? So depend on the number of quantity he order, he has a specific discount rate, right? So think about this one here. When he order everything from 0 to 8, he had no discount. But whenever have everything from the 9 to the 12, you have the 10% discount. From 13 to 25, you have the 15 discount. And you have greater than 26, you have 20 discount. Right? So it's very straightforward. So now we can think about the third approach here. You array with many elements as possible. Depend on the order of the quantity, right? Depend on the order quantity. Store the appropriate discount for each possible order quantity. So we think about this one here. Everything from 0 to 8, you have 0 discount. So everything from the 9 to 12, you have the 10 discount. Right? And everything from the 13 to 25 here. Everything from 13 to 25 here. You store it for 15 discount. And more than that, right? More than 35 or from the 26. You have 20 here. Right? Yeah, it works. Of course it works. But you have huge problem with this one here. What is it? Drawback. Require very large array. Think about what happened if the customer order 1,000 or 10,000. You see that? Remember one thing here. When you store the number in the array, each element it requires a specific amount of memory. Store a specific amount of memory. So you see, if he order for 10,000 or more than that, you have a huge problem with the memory here. Right? That's the first thing. Store the same value repeatedly. You see, everything here. If you look at this one here, everything here was the same. It was the same here, right? Store it repeatedly here. And this one, how do you know when you have in a element? This one only has the 76 here, element here, right? But what happened if the customer order 100 or 10,000? huge problem, right? So in order to overcome it, you create a two parallel array here. Remember that one, that thing you will see, you will have to work in the case when you work with the final project here. So I want you to understand about this process here. The better approach, create a two parallel array. The first thing you have to do with parallel array here. And if it's a 4 element, the things that you have the 4 element because you have the 4 element in the discount here, right? That's why you have the 4 element here. It depends on the how many discount here. Now, so one array has the 4 discount rate. Yeah. Discount rate, discount rate, discount rate, discount rate. And one array has the low end here. That is very important. Low end. Right? You have low end of each quantity range. So see, low end here, 0. Low end here, 9. Low end here, 13. And low end here, 36. Okay? That is the first step when you work with the arrangement here. You have to remember that you have to create the parallel array. And the number of elements in the array is the number of the table here, right? For this one, you have 4. That's why you have 4 elements here. And you have one array for the discount rate, and the other array is a low end of each quantity range. That is the first step you have to do with this one. Now, the second one is that what happened here. So how we do it? How can you define that? How many discount here? You can think about it quite simple. You can think about use netted decision, right? And you did it many times already. See, netted decision here. So it depends on how many quantity, right? So he think about he enters the number 30. Sorry, if he enters the number 30 here, so we check if greater than quantity limit. What's the quantity limit? 26 here. This one 0. You see, index here 0, index here 1, index here 2, and index here 3. So here, if greater than quantity limit, that means greater than 26. You have the output discount number 3. You have 0, you have 1, you have 2, and 3 here. That means you have 20%. Makes sense? You work with the netted decision. It works. It works. Okay. So think about this one, another one here. Think about if he enters the number 12. You see, it's not greater than 36 here. No. Check again. It's greater than 15. No. Check again. It's greater than what is it? What is the second one? 9, right? It's greater than 9, right? Correct. So when it's greater than 9, you have discount 1. That means 0, 1 here. You have the 10%. Right? Makes sense. So you see that already improvement. You store it in C instead of storing in many elements here. Now you just check it to the 4 element here. And it could work with a netted decision. But when you work with a parallel array, you have a better solution here. Let me explain it to you here. The better solution here. You can replace the netted decision by the loop to make the combination here. Now, what happened here? What happened here? Let me see. Let me show you what happened here. So see, you have the range here. You have 0, right? Sorry, you have 0. You have 9. You have the 13, and you have 26, and so on. Greater than 26. So now see, you starting from the last element, the height 1. So basically, that depends. For this one, the height 1 is the last element here. The last element here. So we're starting from the last element, the height 1. But if you want to sort it out based on the grade here, right? So we see you have the 90, you have the 80, you have 70, and then 60, and you have 0 here. You have A for this one, you have B for this one, you have C for this one, you have D for this one, and you have F for this one here. So if you sort it based on the grade here, you have to start from the first element because this one is the highest one. Make sense? So it depends, right? It depends. For this one here, the highest one is the last element. That's why you're starting from the last element here. But if you want to sort on the grade here, the first one is the highest one is the first element. You have starting from the first element. Okay. Now, what happened here? Do it again. You have 0, you have 9, you have 13, and you have 26, and greater than 26 here. Now see, it's starting from the last element, right? The sign -1 is the last element. You got it or not, right? Okay, because the element starting from 0 to all over to the number of element -1. Right? And the reason it's -1 here, because it's starting from 0. Right? So the last element of the array is a sign -1. Correct or not? Right. So see what happened here. For each of the iteration of the loop, right? You compare if the number quantity less than here, if it's less than, so you see the number quantity here is less than. If not less than, you exit it. That means if it's greater than, you exit immediately. What happened here? You see what happened here? If he enters the number 50, if he enters the number 50, you see, he's starting from the last element. That means number 3 here. You have 4 elements. And the size the 4 -1 is to have the number 3 here. So now we compare it. If the quantity 50 here less than quantity limit, that time is the 3 here, right? So what is the quantity limit? 26 here. No, right? No. So you know for sure it belongs to this one already. It belongs to this one. You do not have to check again. You exit the loop and you know for sure this one 2.20% here. Right? Because you have the 20% here because you have this one. You have active. Right? Make sense? Right. Make sense? Okay. Now what happened here? What happened again? What happened if he enters the number 20 here? Now see what happened here. Starting from the index number 3 here. Check 20 here, less than quantity limit x number 3, that means 26. 26 here. Yes. So what he gets? Yes, that means he have no way greater than 26. You have to move it, right? You have to move it to the right here. So see, again, you have 0 here, you have 9, you have 13 here, you have 26 here. So see, he cannot greater than 36. Cross it out, right? So again, you have to check for the next one here. What happened if we greater than 30 or not, right? So see, no, yes here, right? So we see now x equal to x -1, x number 2 here, right? Number 2 here. Now come back again. Check. Now 20 greater than quantity limit number 2 or not? What's the quantity limit number 2? 30 here. So see, 20 less than 13. No. Exit it. Exit it. So what is it? This count x here number 2. So we know that this one is 0.50. You do the same. And of course, you have no way to less than 0 here. That is when it's a loop stop here. Make sense? Okay, that's why we're proof. You see, so we can replace the loop here by, you can replace the negative decision by the loop here. Right? You see, you come back to the previous one here. You have to work with negative decision. Now you can replace it with the loop here. Make sense? Okay. Now we can see it here. You can see it in the router also. I can do it the same here. I determine the discount here. So what happened here? See, I just do the loop of it. I just need to do the loop of it. And you can do the same with the Python here. You can see in the Python, you can see clearly what happened. Now think about this one here. Now let me do this one. Let me run this one. You can see what happened here. Now think about this one here, right? I run it. I have enter 50 here, right? Now you can see it clearly, step by step. So when you see it here, 50 here, right? Quantity here, 50. Now when I run it, let's see. So what is x? I see x number 3 here, right? X number 3 here. Now I check quantity, 50 here, less than quantity minimum, number 3 here. 0, 1, 2, 3. No, right? No. I can easily know what is the discount. Right? You can easily what is the discount. So see, you have the free discount here 0.2 here. Right? Now what happened next? If I run it again, I run it again here. I run it again. This time I put the 20 here. So what happened here? Again, starting from 20, right? I starting from number 3 here. See, I starting from number 3. I check here. 20 less than 26, correct? Right? Minus 1x. So see, after this step, I have x number 2. Right? Now come back again. Now 20 less than 13 or not? No. Right? No, so I know for sure it is a 0.15. Right? Make sense? It's very, very straightforward here. Right? Now, I think that is the last application here. Two-dimensional array. So back then, all we done so far is one-dimensional array. And two-dimensional array is each element is represented by 2 subscripts. So back then, you see, each element only by 1 subscript, right? Only 1 index here. But in the case of two-dimensional array, you can see each element is represented by 2 subscripts here. For example, you have the grade 2 and 3 here. Grade 2 and 3 here. That means that you are looking at student number 3 and grade number 4. The reason because always starting from 0, right? So basically, if you have number 2 here, that means student number 3, and 4 here, that means grade number 4. So think about this one here. You need to load data of all students in the class. Each of them, they have the 5 tests here. Right? You have the 5 tests here. So we can think about here. You have student there. Student number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on. And each of them, they have 1 test, the second one, the 3, the 4, and the 5 here. Now, when you work with the two-dimensional array, you can think about you work with nested loop here. Nested loop. The inner loop here, everything run from 1 to 5 for each student. Right? So when you're done with each student, you move to the next student and so on. That's why the outer loop is student here. Make sense? Okay. Now think about this one here. You can look in the program. See what happened. Sorry. Okay. So see, this is nested loop. This is nested loop. And you see, for that reason here, I have to work with the 2 counter here. 1 for student, 1 for student, and 1 for grade. Make sense? Now see, student number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and this one grade number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. You can think about it work with that kind of the matrix here, grid line here, right? So that's what is here, and you can see it here. I have outer loop here. Do it for each student here. Do it for each student here. And in the inner loop here, I do it for each of the tag here. Okay, that is the way you work with that two-dimensional here. Think about this one. I have 3 students here. And then there's a number of tags for each student. Okay, so this is going to have a 3 here. So we see I have the 60. I have the 70, I have the 30. Now I done with the first student. I move to the second student here. I have the 50, 65, 90. Now I move to the third one here, right? I have 70, 67. Yeah. So now I done it, and you can see it here. I break it down in the row and the column here. Right? You see, row number 1. 60, 70, 80, row number 2, 50, 65, 90, and row number 3 here. So basically, when you think about the two-dimensional array, you just think about you work with the row and you work with the column here. That's all. Right? And the row outer loop and the column inner loop. Right? You see, if you look on this one here, row here, the first student here, the second student here, and the third student here, and the column. Every grade of the first student, every grade of the second student, and every grade of the third student. Make sense? Yeah, it works. So we think about when we work with a two-dimensional array, it is a netted loop. The inner loop work with the column. The outer loop work with the row here. That's all. Any question? Okay. And you work with the same with the Python here. Very simple with the Python. You see, in the Python, it's very simple here. You have the outer loop here, and you have inner loop here. And for see, each of the element of the array, you have two index here, right? I here is for student, and J here for the text here. Right? Very simple here. Okay. Okay, so I think that's all for the application. Now I want to do some of the specific example when you work the Python. So remember one thing here. Remember one thing about the definition of the array. Definition, right? All variable and the same name must be on the same data type. So basically, when you work with a C or C++ or Java, they must be on the same data type. But when you work with the Python, Python have no definition for array. They call it the list. But the list is more flexible. It can hold various type of data. You think about this one. This one, you can see they can store string and the number into the list here. It doesn't matter when you work the Python. Right? Think about have the Python. So, my list. What is this one? I can bring my list here. Okay. So that is the list in the Python, right? And of course, if you want to access to every single element of the array, you can use a combination of the array name and the index or subscript, right? Think about if I want to print out the number 80 here, I have to use minus. I use a number 1. Okay. See for this one here, okay, see for this one here. Number 1, that means the index number 1, right? You starting from the index number 0, that's why this one is the index number 1 here. Make sense? So the first thing when you work with the Python, you have to remember that when you work with the list in the Python, they can hold the data in the various time, not always on the same time. And of course, if you want to access to any single element of the array, you can use the index here, right? Or if I want to print out here, right? You can use the len function here. Len. Print my list. even know. Anyways, I'm here. Okay, so for this one here, right? Okay, so see, if you want to accept it, it brings out every element of the list, right? See, you have the 4i here in the range, that means starting from the first element until the last element. And for each of them, you just print it out, right? That is the name of the list, and this is the index number here. So we see it printed out here, right? It out here. Okay, and that's the first thing. The second one here is the size is not fixed. Basically, if you work with array in other programming languages, it is fixed. You cannot delete element or you cannot expand it here. But in the Python, it's very, very flexible here. The size is not fixed. You can add element, remove element, or change order of element, and so on by using the method. And you have many built-in functions in the Python. Some of the common methods they are append here. So think about. I want to append it, right? I want to append it here. I have my list here already, right? So now I want to append it. So I have my list and put it the number 100 there. Right? And now kind of put it here again. Okay, so see, I can use the function append here, and I add the number 100 at the end of my list. That is the huge advantage of the Python. It is flexible. It's flexible. You can append it or you can delete whatever you want. So that's first. The second one is the pop here. The pop is that mean you want to. Sorry, the second one is the index. Index is that mean you want to find out, right? Think about you want to find out what is a number, what is the index number 27 here, right? So think about I look in my program here, I can see I have my list here. That's it. I have index and I want to look it out for the number 27. Okay, so see, you have the 0, you have 1 and 2 here, and I expect the index here number 2, right? Okay, so see, it look it up, it shut it, right? It shut it into array, and you see the hello 30 and 27. 27 here, it is index number 2, right? Because it's starting from 0, right? You got it? Hello, you got it or not? You see, it's starting from 0, element 0, element 1, element 2. That's why when you print it out, number 7 here, you print it out. That is the index number 2. Right? Okay. You have many built-in functions in the Python. You have the pop. That means when you want to remove it, I think I have the pop again here. I have my list. I pop it. I pop. Number 27. Number 0, 1, 2, 2. I print it out there. Sorry. Okay, so see, I pop it in the index number 2 here, right? So it remove the 27 from my list, right? Or I can use the pop and no index here. So when I use the pop and no index, it will delete the last element in the array. You can see it here. Delete my last element. Okay, so see, it removed the 100 here from my last element. Right? Okay, and you have the insert also. Right? You have insert something about I want to insert it. I want to insert into my array here. I have my list. I do the insert here. I insert. Insert. And this one you have 1000 here, and I want to insert into the second element. Again. Why is not? Okay, I got it. So this one here, actually, this one is this one is index number, and this one value here. So if I want to insert it here, I have to do it on the okay. So see, it inserts the value of 1000 into the index number 2 here. Make sense? Okay. Now think about you have some other one here, and you have something about you have where it's full here. You can use the source. It's sorted into the increasing order. The thing about I modify this one here. I modify this one. I modify this one. And that's my list. I sort it. This. And then do the strong. Sorry, saw. Yeah. Okay. The thing is that they are not on the same data type. This is fine. Yeah, so should be better than this one. Oh, sorry. So basically, this is only support in the. It's not support between the internet. I do not have string here. I don't have string here. Why? Okay, so see, it's sorted in order, right? It's order from the smallest to the largest. Or I can use the reverse method here. In the case of reverse, in the decreasing order. Reverse. Okay. So in reversing order here. And one more. The del. Del here is the same as the pop you want to delete. And so you have some very useful function here. Mean and the maximum automatically find out what is the minimum and what is the maximum in the listing. Think about I had mean here. Mean minus max. Okay, this is a very useful function in the Python. Okay, any question? Hello. So I think that's all. That's all for everything about this class. I will review it one more time with the slide here, right? And do some of the Python here. And now see what you have with the debugging. So this one is basically that is you have to maintain the array, right? You have to maintain the array. You have to maintain the array, and you have the 4 element in the array. So we have the, you can think about the collected array here, right? You have the 4 element in the array. So basically, you see the first step, you can see you have to be missing 0 here, right? And you have to initialize it. So for each of the student, right, there is a question: what year are you in? Right? What year are you in? So if you think about, I'm in the year number 2 here, year number 2. And how many can you collect? If you collect about 20, you add it up to the element of the second element to 20, and you change it to the 10. Make sense? Yeah. For every iteration of the loop, you ask, what is the year are you in? Right? And how many can you collect? And you just add it up to the accumulator here. They are accumulator at the beginning here, right? And you set it 0. And depend. For each iteration, how many can? Just add it up to the correct one. So see, if the first year, add it up to the first element. If it's the third year, add it up to the third element, and so on. Right? And remember one thing here: when you work in pseudocode, index or subscript starting from 0 to all over to the less than number of elements by 1, less than 1 of the number. So you have to make sure you find out, you correct this one. I do not want to go into detail here. You have to find out and to find what's wrong with this one. Yeah, this one is work is range right here. Work is range right here. Right? Then you have the parallel array. Right? And you have to see they are parallel array because they are matching together. They are matching together, right? So think about this one here. You have to look it up. You have to look it up into the. You have to look. Sorry. You have to look it up into the range pledge slide to understand about this one. You have to look it up and remember that you see you only have starting from the highest range, right? That's why you have starting from 90 here. For this one, you have the starting from the first element, not the last element in the same in the slide. In the slide, you're starting from last element because the 26 is the highest one. But this one, you have starting from the first element. And I expect that when you look on this one, when you look on this pseudocode, you have to go back to the, you have to go back to this one. You look on this one. Yes.
On that, wouldn't 90 be the lowest?
Yes.
Because you can get up
90 is the lowest range. No, the 90 is the lowest range of the everything from the 90 to 99.
Yeah.
Now think about this one here. You can think about this one here, right? Oh, but think about this one. You have the range. You have 0. You have 60. You have the 70. You have 80, and you have 90 here. Huh? Yeah. Now see, you have to take a lower range. Starting here. This one, lower range, lower range, lower range, lower range, and lower range. Huh? Okay, so everything greater than 90, A. Everything greater than 80, B. Everything greater than 70, C, and so on. And so on. Okay? Yeah.
So why would that be wrong? Like in the debugging exercise?
What wrong? What wrong?
Is it just that it's reversed? Like it's...
Yes, reverse. Yeah. Now is that put it in reverse order? Now think about this one here. 90 here, 80 here, 70 here, 60 here, 0 here. Okay, you have start from the highest range first, right? It's starting from 90 here. Check if greater than 90. Correct, exit it, right? If not, move on. Actually, this one is quite the same as this one, but in the reverse order. That's all. And I expect you have to flexible with this one. So now see, is for this one here, starting from the last element. But for this one, you have to starting from 0. Right? You have starting from 0 for this one. And for each of them, you have to increase by 1 here. not instead of -1, it has to increase by 1. Yeah, you have to flexible with this one. You have to understand the logic of this one and flexible. So at normalizer only happy with the two of the pseudo code only. And what else? Let me see what else. This one. I think the raptor is very simple. Okay. Number 3. Number 3. What is this way? This program, how many cells are made each category part, right? Okay. Output enter category of 3. Okay, now see. This one is again. This one it is a. This one is a. This one is a, what is it? Okay, now think about this one. So this one you ask you enter category or quit to the quit here. What the quit? Quit is it is 9 here. Right? So for this one you have the 5 category. You have the 5 category, and the number of the array here is a 5 here. That's why you have the 5 here. Alright, this also this work with the accumulator at the beginning. You set all of the element in the category 0 here. Right? Understand or not? Got it or not? At the beginning, you have the 5 elements, and they are category. Everything from category number 1 to the 5 here. Right? At the beginning 0 here, right? Oh, now for each of the iteration of the loop, right? You ask user enter category here, right? And he only have the 5 choice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to enter only, right? And whenever you want to exit it, he enters the number 9, right? Now think about the same one here, the same one here, right? So think about this one. If he enters the number 4, you increase this one. Sorry, this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, you increase this one by 1. Right? And if he enters the category number 2, you have increased this one by 1, and so on. That's all. Now see, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 here. Now raise the question. What is your category? Now my category number 3 increases by 1. The next one, what is the category? My category is number 2, increases by 1. And again, what is your category? Again, my category number 3 increases by 1. Change it to number 2. Make sense? This is accumulator. And for each iteration of the loop, you only have the input is only everything from 1 to 5 already. And you exit, you enter the number 9. Right? And it depends on the number category, you increase the counter by 1 on the category here. Make sense? Okay. Any other question? Yes, Ferric, I expect that you have to look it first before you go to the class here. Yeah, you understand what the requirement. Yes, that is what we learn. That is what we learn from that. That's really helpful for you. You have to look it up first. You cannot expect I explain everything to you, right? I have no idea what you know or what you don't. You just have to tell me what you need and help from me. And it's very, very good that you have to learn it and in advance before the class. Yeah.
I'm not able to open debug 04.
You cannot open it. Yeah, I can open it here. So there's something wrong with your program. Yeah, honestly, I expect you guys ask many questions to me as possible. I'm very happy that you raise any question. Okay, I think this one also is the range map here, right? That is the map here. So I think that for the Raptor it's very simple. You know that the first step here for the first step you have to load data into the array. You store the 10 element in the array, and now the next step you just take it out, but you print it out in the reverse order. It's very simple here. And the second one, keep asking enter the number and store in the array until the enter number 0. That is a sentinel control value here. And to find out the number of small it and large it. If you follow my instruction, right? If you follow my slide, you know how to find out the small it and the big it here. You assign it to the first element, right? And run the loop and check the comparison and change it. Again, I will send it out the slide after this slide. I convert it and send it out, and you can see what you expect to do with this one. Any other question? Yeah, so that is the way you learn. You have to look it up first, and you learn what you are not sure about this. Raise a question. You cannot expect me to explain everything and do it everything. Any question? Hello? Okay, let me check the attendance here. Zachary Baker, are you here? Barrow here. Cameron, are you here?
Here.
Yeah, I'm here. Richmond, are you here? Emiliano.
Here.
Kaden, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Kaden, I see that you already submit the Raptor, but I think the first one is not correct. You have to check it again.
What was that?
The Raptor assignment you submit, the first one is not correct.
The first one's not correct. Okay.
Jasmine, are you here?
Here.
Look, are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
You here. Nick, are you here? Jose, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Martin, are you here? Martin, are you here? Shalom, are you here? Nathan, are you here? Aiden, are you here?
Here.
Okay. Martin here. Okay, so I think that's all. If you have any question, let me know. Again, I expect that before you go to class, look at the homework, and if you need any help from me, you ask me. Okay, if no more questions, I see you guys on this way.